Wherever you're watching from around the world, we're live from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Kelly Egiga. We are live in Kyiv in just a moment, but let's tell you this hour that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is ignoring Western calls for a ceasefire in Lebanon, telling his troops there to keep fighting with full force. Those troops are now pressing on with airstrikes in the Lebanese capital, Beirut, as the Lebanese Health Ministry has now put today's death toll at 26. The Health Ministry also announced 70,100 displaced persons have now been officially registered in 533 shelters across the country. It comes as the United States, UK and other allies have now released a joint statement calling for a 21-day ceasefire between the Israeli military and Hezbollah forces in Lebanon. In the meantime, we understand Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has departed Israel for New York, where he is expected to address the United Nations General Assembly on Friday. That's tomorrow. The U.S. is spearheading a new diplomatic efforts to end hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon, hoping the progress could help rekindle stalled ceasefire talks in the Gaza Strip. And we are also hearing the Israeli military has released a video showing strikes on Hezbollah targets. The IDF announced it carried out overnight strikes across Lebanon, hitting 75 targets in that country. According to the IDF footage, the strikes were said to have been carried out on Hezbollah weapon storage facilities in the central Lebanese areas of Bekaa near the Syrian border. It also launched attacks on Hezbollah terrorist infrastructure sites in the southern Lebanese towns of Srifa and Zerta el-Shakri. However, the details of the footage could not be independently verified, and there has been no reactions or comments from Hezbollah regarding these claims. In the meantime, Iran says the situation between Israel and Hezbollah is unprecedentedly alarming, calling Israel's action an act of aggression. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araki made this known, speaking to reporters on the sidelines of the UN Assembly in New York. He says the region is on the brink of a full-scale catastrophe, warning that Iran would not remain indifferent in the case of a full-scale war.
The Security Council has been called upon to convene regarding the situation in Lebanon. As a matter of fact, the situation in Lebanon and the region is unprecedentedly alarming. Let me be frank, the region is on the brink of a full-scale catastrophe. If unchecked, the world will face catastrophic consequences unlike anything before. Israel has been mass murdering civilians in Gaza, and now it seems to be replicating the same in Lebanon by waging a war of aggression against the country. Israel, through its genocidal campaign, has already turned Gaza into the hell of the earth, as a senior United Nations official described. Over 42,000 innocent Palestinians were murdered, 93,000 wounded, and critical infrastructure decimated. Now Israel is repeating its crimes in Lebanon. In just 1 week, Israel has unleashed brutal attacks on Lebanese cities, killing hundreds of innocent people, including women and children. Israel, as a rogue, aggressive regime, has crossed all red lines. For this terrorist regime, international law, human rights, and peace mean nothing. Israel's ultimate sinister intention is to set the whole region into fire. Israel's invasion of Lebanon is unlawful and criminal for sure. It is an act of aggression. The Charter of the United Nations is blatantly violated. The Security Council must intervene to restore peace and security. The Islamic Republic of Iran has repeatedly warned of the consequences of Israel's malicious acts in the region. The international community cannot ignore the role of the United States and its allies in enabling Israel's atrocities.
Well, it's no news. Australia has been sounding the alarm for its nationals to leave Lebanon immediately. In a latest warning by Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, he's urging citizens living in Lebanon to immediately evacuate for their own safety. He told them not to travel to the region due to intensifying attacks. It is estimated that about 15,000 Australian citizens live in Lebanon.
The advice has been for many months now, please leave. Australian citizens should not be travelling to Lebanon that they've continued to do in recent months. We have had warnings. I have on I don't know how many occasions now said that if people can get out, they should through commercial airlines while it's available. We continue to call for de-escalation. We have been saying for months that people needed to leave. And people do need to leave. And we can't be clearer than that. And we also want there to be restraint here. We want to see a de-escalation in the region. We want to see a ceasefire, both in Gaza and when it comes to Lebanon. We want to see a de-escalation there.
And China is also sounding a warning for its citizens not to travel to Lebanon, even in the near future. China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jiayin advised citizens in the region to pay close attention to the unfolding situation and take commercial flights as soon as possible to return home to China or go elsewhere. And China says it has activated an emergency response plan to draft in relevant contingency plans over the situation. Now, the Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh has reiterated the U.S. stance on the situation in Lebanon, saying Washington, D.C. does not want to see further escalations in the region. She indicated the U.S. is not in support of Israel's actions in the region, adding that a diplomatic solution is what is needed to end the tensions there.
In terms of a ground incursion or ground invasion, that's really for the Israelis to speak to. We certainly don't want to see any action taken that could lead to further escalation in the region. We still believe that there is time and space for diplomacy. We want to see a diplomatic resolution and a solution to prevent an all-out war. But in terms of, the Israeli operations, I'd have to refer you to them to speak to that. I'd have to point you back to October 8th when Lebanese Hezbollah attacked Israel following the brutal attack that Hamas launched on October 7th. So these are still defensive operations. We understand the threat that Israel faces. We are not supporting their operations when it comes to Lebanon. The support that you're seeing, or what you're seeing when it comes to U.S. forces in the region, is for our own force protection. And should we need to come to the defense of Israel like we saw from that large-scale attack from Iran, we've positioned forces to do that. But when it comes to Lebanon, the U.S. military has no involvement in Israel's operations. So just want to lay that flat. In terms of some of what you just referenced, this is exactly why we're pushing for a diplomatic solution. We don't want to see innocent civilians lose their lives. We want to see a de-escalation happen, and you're seeing engagement from all parts of this administration, including at UNGA right now. We're calling for a de-escalation, and we believe that a diplomatic off-ramp is the best way to resolve what's happening on that northern border.
And hundreds of people are staging protests in Spain to show solidarity with the people of Lebanon and to condemn Israel's military actions there. The protesters gathered in central Madrid, chanting slogans and carrying banners denouncing Israel's aggression. Demonstrators are also joining their voice to demand a ceasefire in Gaza, calling on the government to bring back the remaining hostages there.